Italy, Central America. This is Body-Culinary. And today we're going to talk about top reasons why black folks should consider going vegan. Okay, so vegan is trendy, raw foods is trendy. I prefer to just say whole, fresh, cruelty-free foods, right? So let's look at some real simple reasons why we should change our eating, right? If we look around, there's some really obvious reasons. And keep in mind, I don't like to tell grown folks, especially black folks, what to do. I don't like to tell anybody what to do. So we're all adults. We can all make our own decisions. But for those that are looking for some support and some clarity in making some better decisions around their eating, you know, for those who really get it, you know, it's 2017. You know, we gotta be tired of being late to the table. You know, we're intelligent. A lot of us like to say that, you know, we are the descendants or ascendants of kings and queens and royalty, and talk about, you know, all of our abilities and our talents, and, you know, black don't crack, which you can crack if you don't treat it properly. If you don't treat this temple and this machine properly, it will crack, you know. So let's talk about these top reasons. One, violence. As a people, traditionally, we have, particularly in the Americas and throughout wherever there has been slavery, we have been on the receiving end of lots of violence. We protest about it. We don't like it. You don't like it. I don't like it. Nobody likes it. Did it ever occur to us that perhaps, maybe, we're continuing to be insensitive to the violence that's required to slaughter another animal for its life energy, or for its flesh, or for cute outfits? You know, so we're being insensitive to other sentient or living beings. So perhaps we're getting some of that karma back. You know, the information is out there. This is the information age. So anything you want to know about, you can find it. You can Google it. You know, quite often people don't want to see how the animals are, how they're held in cages, and how they're slaughtered and they're held like they were on the slave ships or whatever, and how animals are quite often held in captivity for people's personal entertainment. People got all kind of crazy outfits and bikinis, you know, on animals. It's actually not funny, you know, for our entertainment, our enjoyment. We didn't like to be Sambos and be shucking and jiving. So perhaps that's something for us to consider. What do we get back when we are insensitive at what it takes to eat other living beings that have mamas and papas and siblings and have their own natural way of life that's been domesticated out of them, so they don't remember who they were or what their natural behavior was like before they were domesticated. So we didn't like it. Maybe we get some of that karma back. So that's just something to consider. So that's number one, how the animals are treated. You know, perhaps we're getting some of that karma back. Number two, the absolute cost to the environment. You know, right now I'm in Central America, originally, you know, from BK, families originally from the South and from the Caribbean. But here there have been so many hurricanes, and Nate and Irma. Does it ever occur to us that what it costs the environment for us to have some food that tastes good to us, that we know is toxic to the system, but it costs so much energy to raise cattle and to kill the baby animals? It costs a lot, and it actually has a cost. It comes at a cost to the environment. Again, this is the information age. You know, there's a lot of folks out there homeschooling. You know, you have access to, children have iPads and Google searches. You can look this stuff up and to see what our carbon footprint is. But what it costs us to have animals slaughtered and fattened up very quickly, it comes at a cost for the environment. The amount of land that it takes to raise a whole bunch of corn just to feed to cattle to get one hamburger that's full of cholesterol. You know, so what it costs the environment. So a lot of solar people are being wiped out. Not only solar people, but let's be real, a lot of solar people are being wiped out in the environment. So we can talk about all the things that are happening to us, but what are we contributing to the health of the planet? So that's another reason to go cruelty-free. We can say vegan, but I like to say cruelty-free, right? No violence, no cruelty, also to the planet that breastfeeds us and feeds us. Another reason to go cruelty-free, right, and not to consume animals, and not just vegan, but fake foods. Fake foods that the body cannot recognize. Again, this is the information age, so the stats are out. They've been out for a long time. And how much more research are we going to do on cancer and prostate cancer for the men folk out there? When it's hurting when you're going to the bathroom to pee, that's no joke. So we don't want to wait till it's late and we've pretty much demolished our bodies before we make better choices. And make better choices. I mean, let's be real. Caribbean folks, solar folks, Southern folks, we know how to season foods. It's our heritage. It's our birthright. It's the spices. It's the seasonings. So it really doesn't take that much effort to learn how to spice up, your lentils and other things. A lot of it's really just, we want what we want when we want it. But then we don't want to pay the bill. We don't want to pay the price when we get diagnosed with a disease. So the information is out there. We don't need to eat other creatures or animals. It's just not necessary. We can get all of the essential amino acids. I have yet to see or hear of a protein deficiency in the United States of America. Maybe in a country where they are totally deficient in calories. But if you look at our midsections, we mostly have diseases of excess protein. So we're not having any protein deficiencies. And most people are not working out that hard. And as somebody that's worked out, or been in the fitness industry for many years, we don't have a protein deficiency. Most of us are sitting down in chairs all day. So that's another reason to go cruelty-free and to go vegan. Another reason is cost, expense. People keep saying and have been saying for years that it's expensive. My grandma Lou, who I credit as one of my main inspirations for eating whole, fresh, unprocessed food, she wasn't a vegetarian or a vegan. But I watched this woman roll pennies and save money, and she was very frugal and responsible with her spending. And she would use grains like rices and things. I don't eat rice anymore, but there's so many grains. They're inexpensive. Lentils and beans, which have so much protein. Right now, my sister and I are soaking some mung beans. Mung beans are so inexpensive. You can really retrain your taste buds. And then sesame seeds, which are so high in calcium. This stuff has a long shelf life, so it can really drive your food bill down. So it's less expensive. Over the years, as I ate even less and less health junk, and I got to the point where I wasn't eating anything out of a package, my food bill went down dramatically. Not only did my food bill go down, aka much, much less expensive, much less of a cost, also I became more satiated because of the amount of water and fiber inside the food. So I don't have to take laxatives, I don't have to take fiber because all that fiber is in the fresh food. These natural foods, whole foods that you can still recognize, they still have the fiber on them, so they're still intact. You can still recognize them as a whole food. So the outer covering hasn't been stripped away, so it can sit on a shelf indefinitely. Fortunately for legumes and grains and seeds like that, most of them can hold indefinitely. So if there was an emergency and you needed to throw something in your knapsack, sprouts and bean sprouts, and you can learn to prepare these very deliciously. I like to eat. If my food wasn't delicious, I'd probably be really, continue the legacy of obesity in my family. So it's really a matter of learning and relearning the tradition of how to use fresh herbs and spices in your food. But I'm here to tell you, it will drive your food bill down when you're not buying a whole bunch of packaged stuff. And, here's something else that will drive the food bill down, your grocery bill down. I'm not buying goo-gads of scouring powders and Brillo pads, and it's just not necessary because I'm not cooking in any oils. It's just not necessary. I barely use any oil, if at all. Sometimes I go for long periods with no oil because there's enough natural fats as a whole food with the other components of that food, like an avocado or coconut. I use the whole entire food. So my food bill goes down and I get full. So for those people that are used to a heavy feeling, feeling satiated as you want to transition to eating healthier, it's really a matter of you learning how to prepare seeds and legumes and coconut and avocado again, right? Okay, let's look at another reason. One of my Grandma Lou's principles is eat your own food. With all the complaining that we do in the marching, if we really want a revolution, right? A peaceful revolution, something that's meaningful, so we could clean our own act up and be a contribution, on the planet. We need to eat better food. How about we eat our own food? Why support industries, regardless, whoever it is, whatever their skin tone, why support industries that would sell toxic foods to your community? No one at this point is putting a gun to our head to make us eat unhealthy food. That's a choice. Again, this is 2017. The information is out there, and the time that it takes us to get up, travel to a restaurant, wait online, wait to be served, sometimes complaining about the food, have to leave a tip, then travel back home. I just refuse to pay top quality for lesser quality food that doesn't taste as good as my food and it's not healthy. Like, why would I want to be working out for 1,000,000 hours to get off the junk and the non-foods out of my body? If you here's one of the principles that Body-Culinary goes by. If you don't put the junk in, you don't have to work so hard to get it out. And we know that we have an accumulation of so much waste and non-foods that many of us have been eating since we were children, right? So if you don't eat the junk, you don't have to put it in. So it's easier. Another reason for solar people to go vegan, and again, this goes for anybody, but I'm talking to my solar folks out here, to just keep it, let's just keep it real and positive. Another reason for us to go cruelty-free is because the time and the energy that we put into preparing our own foods is really a good way for us to take care of our own being and to take care of each other. There's nothing like someone preparing you a beautiful meal that you know is healthy and it tastes good. It's not hard. It's not hard. We spend time, energy, and money on so many other things. I mean, you're your best investment. So often we say what I call greeting card language, and we talk all these affirmations, we take all these workshops, and we're not even willing to prepare our own foods. It doesn't take as much time as it does to wait for a piece of flesh to be done cooking inside the oven and have to do a whole lot of cleanup work in addition to the amount of fat and cholesterol that's in it. It costs you a lot less monetarily and energy-wise and cleanup-wise to eat plant-based foods. Also, we're designed, tropical people are designed to eat plants. Most of us are lactose intolerant, meaning that we don't digest milk and dairy products. So that tells you a lot just in our DNA and genetically. We're more designed to eat, tropical foods and plant foods. They agree with our bodies. And again, they don't leave waste on your waist, right? So I don't know, that's something I just made up years ago, but it just makes sense. Plant foods, that you're not going to find cholesterol in the plant kingdom. Now, let me just make it very clear to you. I was a junk food junkie. I ate every chip, high end, low end, from cheese doodles and cheese doodles off the ground when I was a little girl to the high end, so-called kale chips. I ate all kinds of junk food. When you're eating fresh foods with the fresh living water and the fiber intact, you find you're much more satiated, and it cuts. You become much more sensitive to when you're satiated and when you're full. So it kind of really cuts addiction in half, because you become so present to I just don't need any more food. I feel physically uncomfortable because I'm full. Quite often when you're eating foods that are full of calories but don't have any nutrition, you are super duper stuffed with so much excess calories and no water, no fiber, no nutrition. It's actually a very nasty trick to play on the body. But quite often we're just eating just for the taste, for the party in your mouth, and we have no consideration for the brain, for the heart, the arteries, the lungs. We're just eating, for quite often just emotional distraction and for taste, and not even taking into consideration the toxins that are left behind in the body. And there's just not enough exercise in the world to keep up with constantly bombarding the brain and the body temple with so much toxic foods. Another good reason in terms of expense, it is expensive to keep going up in your clothing size. It's expensive. Who wants to keep going up in clothing size? If you just move naturally and you don't put junk food in, then you don't have to, you can wear the same clothes for years and not constantly be spending because you may have a feeling of dissatisfaction, with your own body temple. Another reason, in terms of the same thing on this cost thing, where we quite often say it's too expensive to eat healthy. Well, in eating fresh, whole, plant-based living fresh foods that I can still recognize. Over the years, I learned to use all the pulps and the things that are left over to make different rinses for my hair and for my skin. And I used to spend a lot of money at the health food store and at the food co-op. I don't need to do that anymore. And then what I use, what's left over after I've made either rinses or pulps for my skin, I can put that out in the compost and start growing something, even if it's a little garden. So I had a little teeny tiny garden when I was in the States. So other reasons, there's so many reasons for us to go cruelty-free. So the same vegan, that's a buzzword, but I like to focus even more on cruelty-free so that we can become sensitive. We can become sensitive to other people, to other creatures, which means we're going to become more sensitive to our own being, to each other, and also to our children and the other human beings that we share the planet with. So there's so many reasons. What reasons can you come up with to consume cruelty-free food? Cruelty-free meaning plant-based, whole, fresh, food that you can still recognize as a plant, that you know what it is. It hasn't been sitting on a shelf for 10 years with an expiration date. Share with me. I'd love to hear your comments below, all the reasons that you have to go vegan or cruelty-free, as I like to call it. Share your reasons down below. And if you need support and ideas to make your food taste good, if you'd like some coaching, and how you can eat and consume cruelty-free 100% as a way of life, I'd love to help you shave years of time off, because if I knew years ago what I knew now, if somebody told me this when I was a child, I would have been eating this way since I was a child, because all children love fresh fruit. It's all in how you prepare it and how you season it. It's very inexpensive. It doesn't leave any waste on your weight. It doesn't knock you out and make you sleepy. Once you handle the food thing, you can move on to handle other things in your life. So the food thing, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. Actually, it feels like being released from being on drugs. Because there were times when I would eat and eat and eat, and I just could not get full. And looking back now, I realized, and this was years of trial and error and experiments going through vegetarianism. I was vegan many, many years ago, and I was eating a lot of processed junk food. The food didn't have any water in it. I used to eat goo-gads of nut butter, all different kinds of nut butters, and then wonder as a vegetarian why my face was so broken out in acne. So I was eating foods that did not have a lot of water in it, that were very heavy. I was eating too much fat. I wasn't getting enough water and fiber. Fruit is easy. It's the ultimate fast food. Peel it and eat it. You can take it on the go. You can put it in a fruit bowl, or you can just eat it. Just like it is, you can take the compost and throw it right out. So fruit is easy. Usually people have more challenges when it comes to lunch and dinner, or the more savory foods, because that's usually by the end of the evening and people have had a long day at work. People kind of want something just for pleasure, something that feels heavier, that is satiating, and people often want some food to just knock them out before they go to bed. So I can totally get it, because I used to eat all kinds of junk, and I just feel so blessed to not be addicted to health junk and to junk food anymore, because there were times where I didn't know. I'm like, wow, is this ever going to end? I didn't look like it because I was exercising. I was pretty active, in African dance and so on, but I knew that the obesity and the diabetes was just waiting for me, especially with my eating habits and the way I like to eat. So I still have a ways to go in terms, I would say now it's really about being very aware when I eat, and not eating just when I'm distracted, or emotionally distracted or stressed from what I'm seeing on the computer. But it's been many years of trial and error. So what I can offer you is just some insight and save you lots of years of buying all different kinds of products and hopping from fad to fad. Because fruits and vegetables are not going anywhere. If anything, you could be learning to grow your own food and drop your food bill down. And there's nothing like making and preparing your own food, because you get so much information just by putting your hands in your own food. So I'd love to hear your comments on reasons why you think solar folks, why our folks should be going cruelty-free. It's 2017. Let's look at our results. Let's look at our community. Let's look at our waistline. It's not expensive. Your food bill will go down. It's just a matter of being creative and learning how to prepare the whole fresh food again. Because some of us don't know what to do with beans foods and even cooking them, let alone having them fresh and living. You know, there were so many times I would have never thought you could eat a sweet potato raw. And I've had some of the most delicious sweet potato pies. And the beautiful thing, it goes in one end and it goes out the other end. So it's the ultimate fast food without leaving waste behind on your waistline. So please like, if you like the video, you got value out of the video, please like it. Please subscribe. Please share this with any of your family members who you know will gain some value, people who know they need to eat better, but the excuse that they have is that it doesn't taste good, and that it's too expensive. I know a lot of us, a lot of women, a lot of solo women or women of color, we eat food, you know, as entertainment to calm our nerves down. But it's costing us a lot in terms of our health. And this is, there are some habits, as one of my godmothers used to say fat habits. She used to call them fat habits, unhealthy fat that we're passing on to our children. So there's so much that we need to do. So much. It's 2017. The information is out there. It's just for us to learn how to prepare the whole foods again. And also, I would say as a mom, you want to be committed. There should be no one's food that tastes better than the food you serve to you and your family. So I was always saying, you know, I will not be outdone. I'm going to make sure that folks are licking their lips when they're tasting my food. So this is Body Culinary. I'm signing off. Please share the video if you got value, and I'd love to hear your comments. Take care.